Well, good morning, Will, and good morning for all those that tune in a little bit early, a couple of minutes early on Facebook. So this 19th series of the New World Series lecture is entitled Government for the People, by the People. And I think it's appropriate time because there have been many issues which I've been on board describing that's affected various governments around the world. Obviously, the most prominent one is the near insurrection of our own US government on the 6th of January, when disillusioned citizens tried to overtake the vote of the constitutional vote of the majority of US citizens, which I don't think it was close to obviously collapsing our democracy, but it just showed the vulnerability of it. And then obviously I was also few weeks ago on a panel, invited panel about the military coup took over in Burma and jailing the democratically elected president. So there's, and then you can go through all the systems as a whole. So I don't want to spend far too long on it. Those that know me well know that I am a democratic socialist. That is my political, philosophical inkling. Some may see that as a paradox. There's no paradox. If you're a socialist, then you believe in democracy, because by definition, socialism is about the collective order of the people. And the collective order of people, when they have a voice, that's known as democracy. So democratic socialism is totally well fitted into my bit of history, which obviously dictate where my political views come from. I was born in Singapore, but I was brought up most of my life, early life, educated life in the UK. And I do see the United Kingdom as having a system that I believe is well suited to, this socialist democracy. So, as you know, in the UK, there's two houses of chambers. One is the Parliament, which is elected parliamentarian members of Parliament, which is elected by the people. But the other one is the Lords, which is unelected. Now, I have to admit, in the past, I saw that as because I believe in democracy, I was very anti against it. But over time, I've come to a realization that no, actually, we do need not just a balance, but we need a balance of chambers of wise people. So the Lord, which is unelected, are supposedly anyway members that are wise and experienced and can give guidance to a government. And actually, as I get older and hopefully wiser, I can see the rationale of this. Similarly, here in America, we have two houses. One is of Congress and one is of the Senate. The Senate is actually, you have to be like, I apologize, you have to be much older, like 30 years before you can get elected into the Senate. Again, the reason for that is that you should be wiser to be on that board. Now, I am a proud American. I actually believe that the governance system of America is almost there, but not quite there. And again, I go back to the 6th of January as being a fallacy of showing the weakness of our own democracy. So the founding fathers, when they got their freedom from the United Kingdom in 1776, put together a constitution and put together 3 chambers of government, which is supposed to balance out and stop one branch of the government from taking over the whole control of the nation. So obviously those are the branch of the presidency, the branch of the judicial, and the branch of Congress. Obviously, now, the reason why I feel that there was a weakness in this constitutional arrangement is that the impartiality is so dented in that the president of the United States actually gets to pick who sits on the Supreme Court. So in this case, President Trump picked 3 of its own judges to sit on the Supreme Court. And obviously the judicial system, and all the state district attorney are also picked by the president. So to me, that's not impartial. To me, that is already one person sleeping in two beds. And obviously the electoral vote of the people, what they also vote for the president, and the president also has a very, very strong pull as a strong character. As again, Trump, I make no bones. Everyone who follows me knows I'm not a Trump supporter, but he is a very, very strong, charismatic being. And because of that, he has a very, very strong dominating pull over the entire party, in this case, the Republican Party. So in a way, he's sleeping in three beds. And because of that, I believe has weakened the foundation of our democracy. And because of that, I believe that has caused a lot of the issues that has arisen, and obviously culminating in the near insurrection on January the 6th. So I believe the founding fathers had the right approach, the right thing to have three governing systems which self-regulate each other. But I think where there's a weak clause is that if you have a over-dominating, some would say tyrannical president who gets to elect the Supreme Court members and who have a dominating, overseeing, like I said, tyrannical control over his own political party, then you have one person that, in a way, have way too much influences throughout the three branches of the governing system. And then there is no balance or check, okay? So the way I've evolved the concept, I believe, for the future governing system, which I term is for the people, by the people, is I'm keeping the three branches of government, of governing system, but each three will be totally independent of each other, just like the founding fathers of this great nation that we live in. So because all three will be totally independent of each other, they will not be beholden to any other branch or any dictatorial branch. So the first one, a third of the power will be shared, will be simple. It will be an elected branch, elected by the people, for the people, by the people. So they vote. So if people want to elect a dictator, a tyrant, then yeah, let them. If that's what their will of the people is, well, let them. But they only have a third of the power. The other third of the power I give to what I term as the wise men. So in this case, as I mentioned, like the equivalent of the Houses of Lords in the United Kingdom. Supposedly, they are the wise men. They're not elected, but they're selected because of their wisdom. Well, this branch I call the academia, because, you know, I think smarter people, intelligent people are less likely to make dumber mistakes, okay? I'm not saying smart people don't make dumb mistakes, but less likely to make less mistakes. So one of the branch I believe should be academia, and you should only qualify based on your intellectual prowess level. Just like the great philosopher Socrates, the Greek democracy started with great wise men, and Socrates himself hated democracy because his analogy was like a ship. When you're sailing a ship into a storm, you don't take a vote on the passengers on, you know, which direction you should sail the ship. No, you're going to go into disaster. You need an experienced captain who knows where to sail. So you rely on a captain to steer the ship, a wise, knowledgeable captain. And similarly, that's the analogy that I have with these wise academic people. They have to have certification. They have to show the intellect, the academic knowledge of the subject matter. So whether you're building a nuclear bomb or a nuclear power station or clean energy, these people should be wise and technologically advanced and know the subject matter intensely, okay? And the third branch I call the bureau, okay? So the bureau is basically the bureaucrats, okay? So just like if you're running a corporation and everyone tout the prowess of Trump, his economic prowess, although he's bankrupt 5 companies. I don't know any person ever that's bankrupt 5 companies. So I dispute the fact that he has economic prowess, but I do understand that premise. And that premise is when you're working for a company, I've been in corporate America for 30 years, you're hired based on your skill level, okay? You don't just take someone out of the street and say, here, you're going to be an engineer when, you've done nothing but be an artist. And similarly, I'll take a scientist who has no creativity and I'll put him in the marketing division, right? You don't do that in a corporation, right? It would be just a total disaster. Hence, why would you do that in a government? So in a government, if you have a bureaucrat that has to deal with the infrastructure, with the building, then you want a team of bureaucrats that are experienced with how to handling infrastructure projects. And similarly with financing, if you want your government to look after the money, the taxes going in, and again, you want an experienced accountant, right? You don't just hire someone because he's your father, your friend. So the bureau should be a bunch of bureaucrats that are experienced. And again, just like the academia has to show the certification, the ability to be, quote, certified as Y, similarly, the bureau has to have people that have the necessary experience, the curriculum vitae, the resume to show that, no, I am an accountant, I know how to add numbers, or I am an engineer, I know how to design bridges, okay? So to me, that is how I would adapt the 3 branches of government and make them independent. So again, 1 is by election, so the people have their voice. The second is by academia, but you have to be certified to be smart, knowledge, wise. And the third is the bureau, bunch of bureaucrats, but you have to show your qualification, your experience, that you are up to that task, that role. Now, the way I have it is then those 3 independent, totally independent branches of government will then elect the 1 head of state. Now, whether you call that the president, the prime minister, the king, queen, it doesn't matter. I mean, I do believe that each government do still have a head of state, because at the end of the day, you're having a negotiate discussion with other governments or the United Nations or whatever, you can't send all your entire population to those events. So you have to send a representative of your nation. So, but instead of here right now, which is to me a pyramid upside down, is that we have a president here in America which elects the judicial, the highest level, the judicial system, and then oversees the political power. Instead, I've turned the pyramid the right way out to have a strong foundation. So the foundation is people's vote, academic wise people, and bureaucrat with experience. And that will give the strong foundation to future government for the people, by the people. And those 3 independent branches of government will then elect 1 representative leader for a period of time. I've detailed all that in the book, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Like I said to you, this is an issue that will take many years to resolve. But I genuinely believe that, and those are what I feel will deliver the ultimate true government for the people, by the people. So thank you again for listening, and I see my good dear friend Vernon once more on here. Vernon, do you have anything to say about past, present, and future governments?
Yeah. First of all, I'm sorry I got on late. I was taking care of some household duties, so I missed the beginning. Is this what you're proposing for a world government, or is this just an idea you have for any
this
government?
is what I'm genuinely proposing for future world government, which is for the people, by the people. And I mentioned before you came on about the crumbling weaknesses of various government, whether it's in Burma, where the military coup took over and arrested the elected president. whether here in America, where we think we have the greatest democracy, but the January 6th showed that our democracy was literally a firebomb away from crumbling under a bunch of, tyrannous, mind corrupted conspiracy theorists. But yeah, I mean, I don't generally believe that the January 6th would have brought down our great nation, but it does show that it was possible. So just imagine that if you look at the record, it was a few minutes late, those insurrection would have got their hands on our elected members of government, the vice president, the speaker, and those in power. Now, you can hear their own words, what they were done to them. I mean, they said it in loudly. It was all recorded. So imagine it was only a few minutes away that those people that broke into our great nation's capital have got their hands on our elected members. Imagine what they would have done to them. And they said that in their own words. This is not my word. So that's what I'm saying. That is the weakness of our democracy. And I mentioned the three branches. I believe the founding fathers had the right idea, but they put in place one fallacy, and that was to have the president have overseeing power over the other two branches. So it's not really independent, because obviously the founding fathers created the three branches to be independent, supposedly, so that they will balance and check each other. But when you have a president electing the Supreme Court nominees and having over dominant tyrannical control of their own party, then it's one guy sleeping in three beds. So to me, that's not true. That's not what our founding fathers had in mind. Okay.
Yeah, the imperial presidency has become more real over the years. I think the intention of the founding fathers, was to have three co-equal branches of government.
Correct.
But the presidency has taken on more and more power,
Totally.
usually by decree and declaration, than by any actual powers that are granted in the Constitution. So the issue with the United States and with all countries is that there's an intense streak of nationalism that has resisted calls to a world government, which the UN is supposed to be, and the League of Nations was in some way supposed to be. How do you see mankind overcoming the kind of nationalism that has kept any talk of world government from getting any further than talk? What do you think it'll take?
Education. I mean, as you know, one of our group with Andrea O'Hara is to create a global educational platform, because we have to deliver the knowledge and truth. Ultimately, I do believe in democracy. I believe we do need the humans to pick their own destiny, their own path. Okay, but we must give them the tool, and the tool is knowledge. Okay, no offense, but if you're going to be pardon my English word, you're going to be a dumbass. That's why as everyone knows, I call racists dumbass. Well, that's what they are. They're dumbasses. I make no bones about that. Okay, and you use the political nice word of nationalism. I just call it the real word it is. They're just racist dumbasses. Okay, now it doesn't mean that I don't know smart people that are not racist as well. I do, But what they realize is the smarter you are, the more you realize that how do I obtain long-term sustainability? How can I prosper in a world economy? Smart people, generally speaking, will do the wisest and smartest thing. But you only get wise. You're not born wise. You are born with an empty mind as an innocent. So we have to educate that, including our parents and including our school system. So you have to give them the knowledge. And I genuinely believe that when humanity are educated to a wise enough level, they will come to the right conclusion. They will do the right thing. I mean, we all hardwire the 10 Commandments. We know not to rape, not to murder, and whatever. But do we? That's the thing. And the rationale, the logical rationale behind it, I don't believe is in our society, right? We're too emotionally animalistic, you know, and regrettably, certain people, smart people, tyrannical people, knows how to abuse that. Now, some people may accuse me of that, seriously, and I'm totally open to that. That's the one thing that I am. I'm totally open to being objectionable, questioning my motives, absolutely. And that's why people say, people, don't follow me, okay? What I deliver is knowledge and truth. That's all you really need to follow, is the knowledge and truth. And that will come through education. So the ultimate solution is simple, it's education. Whether that's going to take 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, I don't know. But we're going to help develop that curriculum and teach people the wise way, the way of peace, the way of love, okay? And then it's up to the individual and collectively to decide whether that's the path they want humanity. I'm optimistic. I believe the wise one will pick that destiny, because they do want to explore the outer stars and the inner spirit, okay? So I apologize, but I have to be shooting off pretty soon, Vernon. So I'm going to keep this pretty short. So as part of that wisdom, I'm going to educate them is to deliver solutions, because that's what they're asking for. People are asking for solutions. And this is one of the reasons why I'm giving the solution for a governing system of how they can install a new governance. So if the nations out there, if the leaders out there that wants to take this system, which I said is based on our founding fathers, the United States of America, they had the right idea. Let's create 3 governing branches of government that's independent of each other. And you're also right, that the problem is our presidency became too dominating out of 3 branches. So it's not what the founding fathers want. And that's why I described the 3 branches, which are totally independent. So one's voted purely by the people. One, you have to prove your wisdom. So the wisest and smartest, just like the Houses of Lords in the United Kingdom. And one by bureaucrat. Now you can call that, well, that's the Communist Party of China. Well, that's it. Well, end of the day, like I said, the analogy is the sailing ship, right? You don't want everyone to dictate where the ship goes. You want the most experienced captain. And similarly, for the bureaucrat of government, you want someone, they're on an infrastructure project, you want someone who knows how to build bridges and homes and hospitals. And similarly, someone looking after our money, you want someone who's an accountant. Okay, you don't just hire someone because they're the prettiest or because they pay you most money. You want someone with the most skill level. Okay, so that is where I feel that our founding fathers almost got it right, but they need to put additional safeguard in there to have 3 governing branches which are truly independent and which will ensure that there is no one dominating power that can force the majority down a hole that they do not want to go. And also safeguard the minority, because as everyone knows right now, we're in a nationalistic state. A lot of stuff I know, there's a lot of anti-Asian Chinese attack. As you know, even President Biden now has announced this. So that is what nationalism, that is what racist dumbass leads to. It leads to killing, it leads to violence, and ultimately, on a global scale, it will lead to extinction of humanity. So if that's the path that dumb, racist dumbass wants to take, then I don't want to be part of it. I want to go onto my spaceship with the rest of the wise humans and go to a different planet where wise people rule. Okay, so seriously, okay? But until that day happen, I will at least try my best to deliver knowledge and truth to the rest of my humanity, and hopefully they can wise up. Okay, so apologies, Vernon, that I can't spend more beautiful time talking about this. Love to, and we can obviously take it offline because this is a subject that is most important and dear to my heart. And we'll talk more. I mean, there are weekly lectures anyway, but I just want to give a little sprinkling of my ideas of the future governments for the people, by the people. Much love, peace to you all, and I'll see you tomorrow for the prayer for humanity. Thanks again, Vernon. I'll be back in touch with you. We have a lot of things we need to talk about the future as well. Okay. All right.